Whether you know it or not, there's two tax systems and tax software, as well as your accountant computes both every single year.
Hey, Andi, Joe, Big Al, can you please explain the alternative minimum tax? Who pays it? I found it confusing and would like to hear your take. This is Smitty from the Villages.
Alternative minimum tax, AMT. So the idea is that there's an alternative tax system that was developed, or we came up with that, IRS came up with that in the 50s or 60s, something like that, when certain wealthy taxpayers weren't, quote, paying their fair share because they were loading up on tax deductions, and the government didn't like that. So they came up with this alternative tax, which basically is this. Everything that's income in the regular tax system is still income in the alternative, and some things that even aren't income, like incentive stock option exercise, is income in the alternative minimum tax world. So your income in the alternative world is either the same or higher than it would have been in the regular world. Now, as far as deductions, not all deductions are allowed. And the big one used to be state taxes, but now state taxes are barely deductible, so it's not that big a deal. But there's other things that are not deductible if you're loading up on certain kinds of certain deductions, oil and gas or things like that. It may not be fully deductible in the AMT world. So basically, your accountant through their software is computing taxes in both systems every single time a return is prepared, and you have to pay the higher of the two. That's the point of it. Now, right now, because as I said, state taxes are not deductible for regular tax purposes, and they're never deductible for alt-min purposes. There's very few people subject to alt-min right now under our current taxation, but that will come back.
Yeah, because of the SALT.
Right, because of the SALT. That changed everything.
So Smitty lives in Florida. There's no state tax in Florida.
Yeah, no state tax, and in all likelihood, Smitty's not going to be subject to AMT ever.
Very few people today are subject to it. They have to have kind of a unique situation that pushed them into AMT today.
Yeah, here's where, like, people that have very high capital gains, because capital gain rate is the same in both systems, and if you got less deductions, you might have a higher AMT rate. So that's part of it. Some AMT tax, alternative minimum tax, is a reversal. In other words, you get a credit for paying it. That's if it's something like a stock option, which then will reverse out when you sell, and you basically get that tax back. Probably way more than you need to know, but that's the point. The simple point is there's two tax systems, and you have to pay the higher of the two. Whether you know it or not, there's two tax systems and tax software, as well as your accountant computes both every single year.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.